Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. This is your girl, Cheryl Ravenel. Let me know if you're here. Let me know if you can see me and hear me. Hey, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Hello, everyone. How are you on this beautiful Saturday? This is your girl, Cheryl Ravenel, wife success coach, and I'm on today answering a question from one of the Wives Who Win Learning Center members had asked a question about dealing with past pain and past brokenness and bondage. So I wanted to answer that question on today. So let me know if you can hear me. If you can hear me, just put a one up there for me, please. If you can hear me, put a one. I had to circumvent and go another route this morning. I was trying to get on live here, but for whatever reason, it would not allow me to. So I had to circumvent. So just let me know if you can hear me so we can go ahead and get this show on the road. So if you can hear me, put a one, please, or like it, or send some type of signal so I can know that you can hear me on today. Thank you to my replay viewers for coming back and watching the replay. I truly do appreciate you. I'm so glad that this question was asked because it's super duper important for us to be able to identify brokenness and bondage. And I really want to applaud the individual for asking this question. Let's see. I can hear me, so I think I can hear. Okay. I can hear that. So yes, I really want to applaud the individual for asking this question because it is a prevalent question. It is one that needs to be asked. It is one also that needs to be answered. And what I know, and it's something I used to talk about a lot as far as relationships is concerned, and as far as marriage is concerned. What I do know is that many times it's what we're bringing into the marriage. It's the unresolved issues and the unresolved hurt and pain and all of those things that we're bringing into the marriage that is prohibiting marital growth and is also prohibiting the growth in our own lives. And it's not that these things are new. It's not that this is something that's just happening or something that just came up. But what happens is when you get to a marriage relationship, it forces you to deal with the pain. It forces you to deal with your issues. It forces things, it brings things out. That's what marriage does. It brings things out in the relationship, and then you begin to see things for what they are. And many times you're able to see yourself in that and see areas of brokenness, if you would, or see different type of bondage that you may have brought into the marriage relationship. So the first question I would ask is, do you know what that baggage is? Do you have to go back to the point of the brokenness? You have to go back to the place where it happened. You're welcome. So I want you and whoever else on here just to really talk back to me. Go back to the place of when it happened, when, where, and how. When, where, and how, right? So when we go back to that place, and that's not to put you in a daunting place, that's not to put you in a low place. But here's the thing, you can't conquer what you don't confront. So we're not confronting, okay, when I was 5, this happened to me, and this happened to me by whomever, right? Or when I was 25, I was married in an abusive relationship or in a relationship that was not serving me. So then we have to ask ourselves, if you're 25, why did I stay? Right. And that may be because of something that happened when you were 5 years old. So the first step is really identification. So just identifying what it is, what happened, when, where, how, right? And then the next step is to be able to offer some level of self-forgiveness. And the reason why I say self-forgiveness first is because we have to forgive ourselves. Because many times your mind will try to make you think people or even the person that may have contributed to the pain, brokenness, the bondage, may try to make it seem as if it's our fault. So then you have to offer some level of self-forgiveness. I forgive myself for blaming me. Or if it was a relationship, I forgive myself for staying in that relationship a little too long. I forgive myself for choosing that person for my children's father. I forgive myself for still marrying that individual when I already knew that he was not the one for me. So we have to do some self-forgiveness. And in that self-forgiveness, it also takes a level of self-reflection. So we're reflecting on self, we're exploring as well. So there's a lot of things that have to go into that. So let's take it a step further, and let's say that there was some type of childhood trauma or childhood abuse or some sort, which is trauma, that you had absolutely no control over. And this thing has now impacted your life tremendously. And now that you're married or desire to get into a marriage relationship, you see how this thing is impacting your life. Then we have to look at forgiveness toward the other person. And when we're forgiving the other person, that's not saying that what that person did is off the hook or they don't have to pay for what they did. But that's saying that I'm choosing to forgive them and I'm choosing to release myself now from that place. I'm choosing to release myself from under their control, under their authority, under their power, right? So that's what you're saying when you say, I forgive them. And in many instances, that type of forgiveness would look like you writing a letter to that person and you outlining exactly how they may have hurt you. You may outline, the impact that they had over your life. You may write out how they made you feel in that moment and what it did to you, what it took away from you. Did it take away your innocence? Did it take away your right to choose? Did it take away your right to learn how to love yourself? So you have to be honest in saying, what did it take away from me? What did it do to me? How did it impact my life? And how is it now impacting my future? And what can I do now so that it no longer has an impact? So let's park right here, because I saw you said you have the issue is with self-forgiveness. So let's park right here for a moment and let's talk about that self-forgiveness piece, right? So we know that in the Bible, it talks about how we are to forgive others as God has forgiven us, right? We know that it's one of our duties and our responsibility to forgive other people. But what does it look like when we have to now forgive ourselves? Because we're harder on ourselves. We're harder on ourselves because we've allowed ourselves to get in certain circumstances. We made certain decisions or certain choices that we may not be proud of. We've been in relationships with people that we may not have been proud of the decision making that we've made. So we have to be able to do that. So the first thing we have to do is categorize the offense. Exactly find out what happened. So that's what I was talking about earlier. What happened? Most of us find it hard to forgive ourselves when we've done one of the four things. I'm going to talk about the four things, and Luskin talks about this. So one of the four things is you fail at some major life task like marriage, right? Fail at marriage or relationship. Your actions have hurt somebody else. You've hurt yourself by the way you've led your life. This can be some type of self-destructive behavior, or you didn't do something you thought you should, such as intervene in a family dispute or put money away for your child to go to college. So with that's shame. That's shame. And then with that also can come with some type of guilt. Shame is saying there's something wrong with me, and guilt is saying I did something wrong. So we have to figure out, what is it? Am I saying that there's something wrong with me because I did this, or I allowed this, or it happened on my watch, or it happened to me? Or are we saying that I did something wrong because I didn't do something? I didn't get out that relationship. I didn't do what I need to do by my kids. I didn't stop the abuse when it happened. I didn't do this. So categorize what happened, when, where, how, which I was talking about earlier, and categorizing the offense, that starts the forgiveness process. It allows us to break down what we did, look at it from a world view per se, get the distance of how did this impact me overall in that moment, so we can begin the healing process. Then we have to understand how we feel. So this is when we get in touch with our emotions. Emotions are great indicators, but horrible dictators. But we have to be able to articulate the specific wrong. What is the specific thing that was done? And a part of that is also telling other people. So whether that is a close friend or family member, somebody that you can trust, somebody that that supports you in other endeavors, you want to talk to that person. And in many cases, you want to seek some type of advice, some type of mentorship coaching. And that's exactly what this part is as well, right? Because I am an expert and I'm experienced in a lot of these areas. So you're getting that advice, and you may also want to see a therapist or another type of professional as well. So what sharing does, it reminds us that everyone makes mistakes. So I'm here to assure you that if you have bondage from your past and you feel like you're stuck there and you can't let go of the bondage, or the bondage that just has so much of a grip on you until it has broken you literally, figuratively, and it's impacting your life and your relationships, I want to remind you that everybody makes mistakes. You may not identify with everyone's mistakes, but everybody makes mistakes. We commonly think that we're alone in these unique periods of suffering, but we all have suffered. We all have dealt with some level of shame or guilt or some level of embarrassment of some sort. So know that you're not by yourself. And also the word of God tells us that when we confess our faults, God is faithful and just to forgive us and to cleanse us from all sin and unrighteousness. And that the word of our testimony, that we are overcome, that we experience healing, wholeness, and deliverance by the word of our testimonial. So confessing what you've done, or what your conflict is, what your inner conflict is, it also prevents us from slipping into denial, depression, oppression, repression, and all of those things. So we don't want to fall into those places. We don't want to pretend that something did not happen when we know it did. Okay. The number 3 thing is then understanding what you want. Understanding what you want. You don't necessarily have to reconcile with the person that hurt you. That's not what forgiveness is all about. And many people get that confused. They feel like when I forgive the person, we have to be back together, or the marriage has to work out, the relationship has to work out, or I have to do whatever. No, that's not the case here. You are asking yourself what you want because you need to be clear on what it is that you want, right? So that's not reconciliation. That's just being clear on what you want. You just want to get rid of the shame and not walk in a place of shame, embarrassment, or guilt. We're releasing the blame and feeling the calm, because the word of God tells that he will give us perfect peace if we keep our mind stayed on him. Be anxious for nothing. That means don't worry about anything, but in all things by prayer and supplication, prayer and making your requests known unto God. So that's the space that we want to be in. So I want you to write right now, because this is a part of your healing process, is I release the shame. I release the blame. I release the guilt. I release the shame. I release the blame, and I release the guilt. I am now operating in a place of liberty and freedom, according to John 8:36. I believe that's that scripture. I'm just going to verify it real quick. But 8:36 says that whom the Son has set free is free indeed. Yes, that is the scripture. So I want to operate in a place of freedom. Number 4, recognize unrealistic expectation. Recognize the unrealistic expectation. Most of us have a subconscious rule or subconscious way of thinking how things should be, right? So the rules hover in the back of our minds about how we expect our lives to be, how we expect ourselves to behave, and we get self-absorbed in that. So let's say something did happen in your childhood and you wanted your childhood to be different, or you wanted your adulthood to be different. But just to be honest, given the circumstances, they weren't. So now we're here. So we have to know how to recognize, okay, that was an unrealistic expectation because my father was an alcoholic, or my mom was a workaholic, or my parents weren't able to be the best parents because they didn't have the tools and resources that they need. So you have to not make excuses, but you have to be realistic of the circumstances of where you were at that time. and to know that these circumstances were not ideal. So even if I wanted things to be a certain way, they couldn't, because the circumstances would not have allowed them to be so. Does that make sense? The circumstances would not have allowed them to be so. So even if I wanted things to be a certain way, they would not have been able to be so. Okay. Number 5, now we're getting to identifying the hurt, right? Identifying the hurt, because anger is a secondary emotion. So normally you have all of these other things: rejection, abandonment. And just so you know, abandonment, rejection is a subpar of abandonment. So if you've experienced any level of abandonment, be it voluntarily or involuntarily, you're automatically going to experience some level of rejection. All right. So there's abandonment, and then there's rejection. And then we have all of these other things like betrayal. We have all these other things like abuse. All of these things are some form of trauma. Not only are they, some of them are physical trauma, but they all are emotional trauma. And there's 3 levels of trauma. There's acute trauma, which is a short type of trauma. It can be a car accident or something like that. There's chronic trauma. That can be some level of, let's say you were being abused for a period of time. That's chronic trauma, right? And let's say you experienced some level of sickness. That's chronic trauma. Like repeated or prolonged trauma is chronic, something that's repeated and prolonged. And then we have complex trauma, which is exposure to a variety and multiple traumatic events, often invasive or interpersonal nature. So we have all of these traumas, and all of us at some point have experienced trauma. So if you've experienced bullying, violence of any kind, complex trauma, any type of disaster, where we're at right now in the pandemic, early childhood trauma, intimate partner violence, medical trauma, physical abuse, all of these things are levels of trauma that we've all experienced, right? So now you got to get to the point of, okay, I need to identify the hurt. What is it that hurt me? Realize that the hurt feelings, the guilty thoughts, and all of those things whenever you think of the offense. So let's pause here for a moment and let's begin to think about that, not so that we can experience more pain, but so that we can be released from it, right? So that we can be released from it. It's a reaction to today that's causing a problem. What is the reaction? What is the response when this happens? So now we're identifying 2 triggers. We're identifying triggers. When this happens, I respond this way. And this is why I respond this way. See, it's important for us to get in sync with what and why and how we feel. That's what emotional intelligence is all about. I'm going to do a teaching on that one day. I've done one, not strictly on that, but I've incorporated it in other things that I've taught. Okay. So then number 6, we want to hit the stop button. Stop recalling, stop replaying, stop reminiscing, stop ruminating on thoughts and on what happened to you. Stop it. No longer are you going to sit and play that recorder over and over again. No longer are you going to repeat what you did, what was done to you over and over again. It puts you in a bad place. It keeps you in a bad place. And every time you catch yourself ruminating on the sin, the issue, or the problem, it's going to keep you there. So when you find yourself there, refocus your attention on something more positive. Refocus your attention on where you are now, what you want now, what you're doing now, how you're doing better, how you are elevating your life, how you are going to the next level. It's time to refocus your attention. You have 30 seconds to turn that thing around. When those thoughts come and you feel like the failure, you feel like I did wrong, I am wrong, whatever the feeling is, you have 30 seconds to turn that thing around. 30 seconds. Somebody put 30 seconds. And in that 30 seconds, you have to come up with something else. I am a masterpiece. I am not wrong. I may have done something wrong, but I am not wrong. I am no longer holding myself responsible for that. I am no longer allowing myself to feel guilt as a result of that. I am no longer allowing myself to feel shame. I will no longer blame myself or accuse myself. You have 30 seconds to get rid of those things. 30 seconds, okay? And then the seventh thing is apologize. Apologize. When you can't forgive yourself because of something you've done to someone else or something that has happened and you feel like it's your fault, sometimes all it takes is a sincere apology to make things right. That's it. Sometimes you just have to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And that may look like a note. Apologies are most effective when it's made in person, of course, but sometimes you may not have that opportunity, or sometimes the person may be gone. But I'm saying I'm sorry, it goes a long way. It might be even to your children. You may have to apologize to your children for something you've done or didn't do, to an ex, to a parent, or to a spouse, or to a sibling. It may be necessary, but that's something that you have to determine. Is that right for me? And then number 8, practice PERT. PERT stands for positive emotion refocusing technique. Positive emotion refocusing technique. And how do we do that? 45 is a 45-second strategy used whenever you start beating yourself up over your past sins. So let's do that. Do you want to do that? Can we do that? Can I share this simple strategy with you? And hopefully you'll be able to use this going forward. Let me know if I can share this with you so we can go through this exercise really quickly. Because I am committed to the healing journey for you. I'm committed to the healing journey for you. And I believe that this will help. So let me know if I have your permission to go through this 45-second exercise or strategy with you. So after today, you're no longer beating yourself up. After today, you're no longer accusing yourself. After today, you're no longer taking the blame. Okay. All right. So let's go. So close your eyes. Simply close your eyes and inhale a long breath that gently pushes out your belly. So draw in a long breath that gently pushes out your belly. Then slowly exhale as your belly relaxes. I want you to draw in a second breath and inhale. And then exhale. On that third breath, when we inhale, what I want you to do is create a mental image of someone you love or of a beautiful place in nature that fills you with awe. This can be a beach, this can be a mountain, this can be a place, this can be a time in your life. That's what I want you to do on the third breath. So when we're doing this, we're going to breathe deeply as our mind explores that natural beauty, whatever it is around us. So let's go ahead and do that on that third breath. Let's breathe in. And let's begin to think about somebody we love, something we love, some beautiful place, some magical place that we wish we were. We may have been there before and we desire to go again. And just breathe deeply as we explore that beautiful place. Look at all of the intricate parts of that place. Eyes closed. Look at all the intricate parts of that place. Look at all of the beautiful people. If that place has beautiful people in there. Look at the beautiful objects that are all around you. Maybe there are some flowers. Maybe there is a forest, a beautiful forest. Maybe there is some antelopes. Maybe there is fruit. Maybe there's a garden. Whatever that is, just feel and be in that moment and be in that place and allow yourself to feel all of those things around you. And then allow those feelings to center on the area of your heart. The place is just magical. It's a place that you don't want to leave. And then slowly open your eyes and let me know, how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? Being in that place, no worry. I'm not talking about heaven, yo, I'm talking about out here, on earth. No worry, no pain, because God has already taken care of all of those things for you. He's dealt with all of that baggage and bondage and all of those things. And now he's liberating you to experience him in a way you've never experienced him before. How do you feel? Knowing that these emotions are now positive and you're refocusing the way that you thought in the past, the things that you've done in the past has now shifted and refocused. How does that make you feel? Let me know, how does that make you feel? Safe and peaceful, right? So anytime you feel like beating yourself up, go to that place. And it's going to come a time where that place is going to become automatic because you're going to stay in that place of positive emotion, refocusing. I'm refocusing my energy. I'm refocusing my thoughts. Okay. Number 9, make it right. So there may be somebody that you may need to make amends with, and look for a way to be kind to those that have hurt you. I know that's hard, but we have to. If we really want to walk in a place of true healing and peace, we have to make wrong right and be kind. The Bible says, bless those who curse you. Be good to those who do wrong to you. Do good rather than feel bad about it. Not only will you forgive yourself, but doing so will also turn your life around in ways that you can only imagine. Doing this will turn your marriage around in ways that you can only imagine. Right? Number 10 is just get rid of thinking you're just this evil person. Because once you've made amends with others, it's time to stop telling yourself the old story of you're the worst person in the world, because that's a lie. Start a new story. Let's do another exercise. Yes? Start a new story. Now you're a hero in this story. You're a heroic person. Who do you want to be? What is your character? Let's name a character. When I was growing up, one of my characters was Shira. How many of you guys remember Shira? Like, she was my person. She was my person, and I loved her in that moment. I loved Shira. Like, she was just this amazing superhero. So I'm going to ask you, who is your superhero? Shira, she was this princess, this person that was just so amazing. She was a princess of power, princess of power. So it says Shira was a princess of power, the princesses of power. It was an American animated television show that used to come on, you guys. And it was my show. So who is your person? Who do you need to reincarnate into and create a story of being the hero? What new story do you need? Let's do that on today. Write your person. I'm going to write my person. Let me see if I can get a let me see if I can. I'm going to write my person, and I am also going to get a picture of her so you guys would know who my person was. I was obsessed with her. My superhero is She-Ra. So guys, I'm going to put that picture here. Let's see if I can put it here. Ooh, I like this one. You guys know who your person is? Get your person. I'm trying to copy this thing, but it's not allowing me. All right, I may have to save it and then copy it. Give me a second, guys. Because I really want you all, and it doesn't have to be a superhero. That's just my person. This can be whoever it is for you. Okay, I can't copy it right now. I have to copy it later. So I'll put her in there later. Okay. So start writing your story. Number 11, put things in perspective. Think of all the things that you've done today alone. Think of all the good things you've done. Let's start talking about some of those. What did you do today that was already good? What did you do this week that was good? Just once a day, start thinking about, what did I do? How did I give back to the world? How did I give to myself? How did I give to my children? How did I love on the unlovable? And think about it for a very long time. And you will realize that you are an amazing person. Despite what may have happened, you are an amazing person. Start thinking about that. Shanda or Shonda? I don't want to say it wrong. Yeah, start thinking about who that person is. And it could be a physical person. It doesn't have to be a superhero. I just picked her. Start thinking about that. Okay. And then the 11th thing, putting in perspective, is start thinking about all the amazing things that you do and how amazing you are, despite whatever the past said or says, right? We've already went back. Now we're forward. Now we're in the present. Now we're going to be present right here, right now. This is our present moment, and we choose to embrace the present moment. I want you to say that. Choose to embrace the present moment. What's happening here and now. What happened then is no longer dictating my future, my cause, my life, my purpose. I am present right here, right now, and I'm okay in this place. And I'm choosing to embrace what's happening right now. Okay? And then the last thing is replace guilt with gratitude. Replace guilt with gratitude. And I'm going to give you some things, some suggestions that you can do. So while you're learning to forgive yourself, and just so you know, this is a process, but you're on a very good track. And the things that I share with you today will even help to move you closer to that place of self-forgiveness and self-healing, and getting rid of all of those things in your past that are no longer and has never served you. So while you're on this place of forgiveness and moving on, give your mind and your body a break from all of the shame. And you can do this by replacing with gratitude. So here are some things that suggest, right? So walk into your nearest supermarket and give thanks for the food that's available. You know, something I used to do is I used to the janitorial workers or custodial workers at any job that I've worked at. I've always kind of like made friends with them, and I would always share with them how thankful I was of them serving us, you know, cleaning up the restrooms behind us, taking out our trash, and doing those jobs that a lot of people look down on. I used to always make sure I told them how thankful and how grateful I was to them when I see people, I was at Tanger Outlet in Charleston one day, and the guy was doing the trash. I told him how thankful I was of him just for disposing of the trash and for taking on a job like that. You know, going to a nursing home, or visiting patients. You know, right now we might can't do that because of COVID, but just giving thanks for your own good health. You know, if you're a person that eats healthy, giving thanks that you're eating health. Shonda, let's spell Shonda. Okay, thank you, Shonda. I appreciate it. Giving thanks for how you treat yourself. You know, I'm big on health and fitness. This week we're cheating. This weekend we're cheating. I just ate like, I'm not going to tell you how many slices. I'll be transparent. I ate like 4 slices of pizza this morning. They were veggie pizzas, but we were just totally eating trash this weekend because we've been being really good. But anyway, so just giving yourself gratitude and permission to love on you, right? Because with self forgiveness comes self love. And just saying, you know, I am so grateful to myself for how I take care of my health. I'm thankful for how I take care of my body. You know, when driving, think about other people that are on the road who are following the rules of the road, and just be thankful for that. Be thankful that you can get in your car and drive to a destination, even in the midst of COVID. If you're an essential worker, giving thanks for that, that you're deemed important enough to be able to go to a place of employment. So just little things, you know, as you're going to walk today. I'm at the jog today, and I don't know how I'm going to do that after these pieces, and I'm probably going to get some ice cream as well. But anyway, just giving thanks for those things. And I guarantee you, if you put these things in perspective and you practice these things every day, Shonda, every day will get better than the day before. Every day will get better than the day before. I promise you that. And just know that you're not on this journey by yourself. Healing belongs to you, it is your birthright. The peace of God belongs to you. And I strongly believe and I feel that this is the beginning of something new for you. This is the beginning of something different, and that you're going to be able to experience not many days hence the love of God explode in your life. I truly believe that. So that's what I wanted to share. I hope this question was helpful for those of you that will watch the replay. I hope this is going to be helpful for you as well. Please continue to write your questions, submit your questions. I'm going to keep that post up there, and I'm going to keep it under under announcements so you all can see it. So basically, it says wives who win and wives who are learning. What's your greatest challenge as a wife or a wife to be? So just put those up there, and I'll commit to on Saturdays, maybe every Saturday, every other Saturday, I will commit to doing a video and just responding to that post. Okay. All right, you all. I hope you have an amazing Saturday. Be blessed on today. Make sure you're staying safe and healthy, and all of that great stuff. And know that this too shall pass as it relates to COVID-19, that this is just a divine pause that we're all in, and that take advantage of this time that we have together. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you soon. What's the next time? Monday. We will be having prayer every Monday at 5:30 a.m., praying for marriage, family, praying for us as wives, praying for the nation, of course. But Monday morning, 5:30 prayer. So make sure you join us there. All right, you all. Have an amazing day. Have an amazing week. And I'll see you soon. Oh, happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there, all the mothers in the Wives Who Win Learning Center. I appreciate you. I honor you on this Mother's Day and every day. Motherhood is the hardest job ever in the world. And if you have had the opportunity to be a mother, to be a surrogate, and not necessarily a physical surrogate, but being able to be there for someone else's child as an auntie, as the stepmom, or any capacity of motherhood, which we all are because we are mother. We're mother of many nations. I pray that you have an amazing Mother's Day this day. I pray if you are in a place and you've lost your mother, that the peace of God would be with you on this Mother's Day, and that you surround yourself with your family and with your friends, and you love on them and allow them to love on you this Mother's Day, and that you remember the happiness the happy moments and the happiness of your mother or your grandmother, whoever that special woman was that was a part of your life and that may not be here anymore. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Shonda. All right, you all. I love you with the love of Jesus. I really do. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.